All right, welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to this evening's event. It is the start of the playoffs for the Friggy Diggy Racing League, and we are at the track Too Tough to Tame, Darlington Raceway, for the first out of 10 playoff events to end out the 2025 season. We've got a number of storylines coming into this race. We've got a number of drivers looking to make their mark, but who's it going to be at the end of these 10 races? First, we've got to find out who it's going to be at the end of this one. As the drivers are finishing up practice and getting ready to get out there and get their hot laps down, we've got this evening 184 laps around Darlington. This is going to be a grueling event tonight for these drivers. This will be perhaps the biggest test out of each and every one of the last 10 tracks remaining, at least in my opinion. This track is often one of the tougher ones out there, so whoever goes out there and wins this race, I think I predicted it last week or a couple weeks ago, but I think whoever wins this race will eventually be our champion come Phoenix at the very end of the season. Right now, we're watching the 77 around in this very nice throwback Valvoline scheme here for Roy Hill III. I am a big fan of the Valvoline schemes from throughout the years, and especially that era right there. It's a very nice looking Mark Martin throwback right there, and wouldn't mind seeing that one up front tonight. Currently at the top of the board, it's going to be Jaden Wicks with a 29.30 in practice here to top the charts. Of course, practice isn't where they pay out the points nor the cash, but all in due time. We'll see if Jaden Wicks can replicate that in qualifying. That would be a huge run, a huge boost of momentum for Mr. Wicks heading into the rest of the playoffs here. As a matter of fact, speaking of the playoffs, we've got a bunch of drivers highlighted in red. Those are our playoff drivers this evening. The only driver out there who is not a part of the playoff field is Christopher Pugliese in the 42 car. Everyone else, they're in it for the playoffs, so that's practically the whole field. And that means everything you see out there is a battle for points, is a battle in the playoffs. Before we jump into it, though, let's take a brief moment to head trackside and hear our national anthem, and we'll come back for qualifying. All right, qualifying is officially underway. These drivers are starting to hit the field. We are watching double-double. Mr. Brad Holmes getting out on track and trying to go out and start the playoffs with a statement. Real quick, while we're getting up to speed, do want to mention that I do indeed, as always, have my co-host Tom Richter alongside me, but Tom's feeling a little under the weather. So feel free to say hello, Tom. But Tom's mostly going to be managing the cameras in the background this evening.
Well, thanks for having me up here. Arie is the These drivers get set for 184 laps. Darlington, track too tough to tame, Lady in Black, whatever you call her. You just need to respect her. Out here in Florence, South Carolina, looking forward to seeing a great race from the Friggy Diggy Racing League. Always glad to be here on a Wednesday night, even just running the cameras.
It's a great time, especially when we get that playoff intensity going. Here we go then. Brad Holmes across the line for lap 1. It's not going to count. Must have just grazed the wall on that first run around, so this is going to be all or nothing for Brad Holmes. That shiny red and white Camaro rocketing down the backstretch and into the tight turns 3 and 4. A very multi-grooved corner, this one right here, no matter what car you're in. And Brad gets real loose on corner exit. That is going to lose a lot of time. Comes across the line. It does stand, but it's going to be 7th place for the 00. We jump on board with the 54 of Justin Osterman, heading around for lap number 2. Lap 1 was good enough for P4. We'll see what Justin can do now that the tires are all warmed up and ready to go. Currently at the top of the board, it's Matt Semple with a 29.27. About a 10th faster than anyone else. But here we go with Justin Osterman off for the corner into the line. Put the 54 car in 4th place. No improvement.
Saw a little bit of wall contact down there in turns 3 and 4. Might have had the same issue for Justin. Justin's one of those drivers, Arie, that kind of all or nothing for the 54. I mean, very fast, very good, but always finding a way to maybe put himself behind the 8 ball a little bit. We've seen it a couple of weeks in a row at Richmond, and last week when we were here in their Cup Series. But Justin always enjoys a challenge out here, but looks like he's going to be starting 4th on the board, following Mike Schaefer around.
That is a great point there, Tom. I think Justin is absolutely an all-or-nothing type of driver, and that results in usually the highest of highs and some of the lowest of lows. So starting off pretty good, though. In the top 5 for the beginning of tonight's event is the 54, as we watch the completion of lap 2 for the 29. And with that, I do not believe we've got anybody else on track at the moment. Qualifying is going to be wrapping up here. And it looks like Matt Semple is going to be picking up right where he left off with his last appearance in, I believe, Richmond with that victory. All right, here it is. 1.3 mile track. We've got 184 laps this evening. The very first run of the playoffs. It is 84 degrees outside and clear, excuse me. The wind is 5 miles an hour, so not too much going on there. This will go into the evening hours, so the track will start to cool down quite a bit as the race goes on, and that'll be something to keep an eye on. The handling of all of these next-gen NASCARs changing quite a bit throughout the evening here, but with qualifying just about wrapped up, and all of our drivers antsy with anticipation, get this playoffs underway. Let's see if we can get ready to get this grid called. All right. Here we go then. Starting P1 with a pole time of 29.278. It's going to be Matthew Semple in the 8 for, I believe, Bigfoot Motorsports. We've got Jaden Wicks alongside in the 9, following up that good practice time and starting on the front row. About a 10th off, but good enough for that front row. Jaden Wicks. We've got Brendan Brody in 3rd in the 98 car. We've got Justin Osterman in 4th in the 54. Rounding out the top 5 is Gary Miller in the 38.
On the outside of the top 5 looking in, you got Logan Spencer, driver out of Bigfoot Motorsports, starting 6th on the board out here tonight. So his outside, you're going to have Roy Hill III in the 77 machine, Paxton Frith in the famous number 21 here from Darlington Raceway, Brad Holmes and Mike Schaefer, the top 10.
In 11th place, Christopher Pugliese in the 42, followed by Mike Miller in the 24, and Sean Gunrow on the field. It's going to be Daniel Scruggs in the 14, and Nathan Peacock in the 72. Pace truck is moving, and we are about ready. Drivers are going to start getting up to pace speed, and getting their tires warmed up over this one pace lap we have before we get this green flag thrown now. Mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the green flag is going to fly at a time where the sun is still beating right down on the track. Very little shade to go around. So this is going to be a hot, slick racetrack to start out this evening's race, but as it goes on, it is going to cool down bit by bit, and once that shade starts being thrown over the racing surface, we're going to see some really big swings in how the car feels and how these drivers have to adapt their lines and their approach to attacking and defending.
LR, you can see the shadows about to get longer here from Florence, South Carolina. The field being led by Matt Semple and Jaden Wicks. As they get set, the pace car is down, and we're going to go racing for 184 laps from Darlington Raceway, the track. Too tough to tame for playoff race number 1.
184 laps about to be underway. Right now, we are a go. Green flag waves, and we are on our way to lap 50 for the end of stage 1. Matt Semple gets a great run on the start and is going to clear the field, heading through turns 1 and 2. That bright yellow and black 8 Chevy Camaro is already off to a great start with a half a second lead over second place. Brendan Brody in the 98 got a fantastic start. And that is not over yet. Here comes Justin Osterman in the 54 to the inside after starting P4, looking to make it P2 by the end of lap 1. It is about dead even going into turn 1 here. Justin is going to have to let the 98 go just a little bit. Good job by Brendan Brody to keep it off of the wall. You see all of our drivers off of turn 2 right here. Everyone doing a good job to keep it out of the wall. It is a sketchy one here at Darlington. You can already see everyone getting into the wall in turns 3 and 4. Justin Osterman's going to lose the car sideways and over correction. Is he far enough down to avoid a caution? It would appear so. Justin Osterman's able to get that thing in gear and keep it going. Luckily, didn't have any big impacts with other drivers or the wall. But Justin Osterman here taking a big slide through turns 3 and 4 and down to the inside. That is unfortunate, but rather early than late with a long race still to go.
Already see Nathan Peacock on pit road here, Arie, to start the race. The 72 on pit road. Not entirely sure what's going on with the 72 machine or that Toyota Camry. I do see a black flag, so I'm not entirely sure what may be happening for Nathan up there.
Not entirely sure either. I can't say I caught it, but it looks like we've got issues for the 14 of Daniel Scruggs, who has a very damaged race car by the looks of it. A hard impact on the left side. Not sure what happened to Daniel. See if we can get a replay here. Ooh, caught him mid-spin. This looks to be on the front straight, coming out of turn 4. All right, here we go off of turn 4 with the 14. Just gets real loose. When you're in that high line, coming off of that banking and on the straightaway, it's so easy for that car to snap loose and just could not get it slowed down, could not get the momentum turned in any other direction for the 14. That's a pretty big hit. Drivers do have one fast repair out here this evening, as always, in the Friggity Racing League. So something that hopefully he can come back from, but we're going to hope for Daniel's case that he doesn't lose too many laps in this first stage with that damage. Matt Semple continues to lead the field with a 1 second advantage over P2. That is Brendan Brody in the 98 car. We're watching the battle right here for P6 between the 38 and the 89. Logan Spencer and Gary Miller both down a spot from where they started. Looking to settle in, find that rhythm, and get going in the right direction. We see a number of drivers tagging the wall behind as the 21 of Paxton Frith going to look to the inside. Not quite going to be able to get there on that attempt. One thing I'm seeing right now quite a bit of is a lot of drivers just trying to find that rhythm. They're racing the racetrack more than they're racing each other, and that's what you have to do here at Darlington. And a lot of times you end up in these situations where we have a lot of the field just kind of nose to tail. Everyone's found their spot, and if you see someone mess up like right there, you'll capitalize on it. But otherwise, you're not really going to force the issue too much. You're going to let the race come to you and make sure you're on top of how to race this track.
And it's so tough here, Arie. When somebody makes a mistake in front of you, there's not many good passing opportunities down here. Really, the better passing opportunity is down here into turn 1. It's a little bit wider. You have a little bit more control. You go down there into turn 3, you better hope that you're single file. Otherwise, somebody's going to have to give. So you see, like Mike Miller right here probably had an opportunity to step out and maybe take a look down onto the inside, maybe thinking twice about it, trying to set him up down here for turn 1. So a lot narrower down here in turn 3 and 4.
Absolutely. And, well, actually, that's an interesting point that you bring up here, Tom. It is very, very sketchy to try and throw that car to the inside and make that pass in 3 and 4. I would almost argue that it's sketchier in turns 1 and 2 because it's so much higher speed with how narrow the track is just by itself, just as is. So there's no good place to pass at Darlington. Every single place you go to look to the inside, look to the outside, it's always going to be sketchy. And I think that's part of what adds to the challenge and to the fun that is this racetrack.
First yellow flag of the evening out here as we see the lights illuminate yellow from Darlington Raceway. We're going to see if we can't find out maybe who was involved in that. Well, let's just see what this shows us. Looks like...
Oh,
looks like it's going to be the 72 here. Let's back up, take another look at Nathan Peacock. You can see the contact on the outside retaining wall and then the contact on the inside retaining wall. So the worst of both worlds for the 72 right there, and that is pretty significant damage to both the left and the right front for Nathan.
absolutely. That 72 is going to need to take that fast repair if he still has it. That was, by the looks of it, one of those instances where you're coming out of turn 2 and you just get way too tight. You have the car angled, you think you're good, but that wall comes up on you quick. Exit a turn 2 at Darlington, one of the more difficult ones to manage, and you hit that wall, you are along for the ride, and man, that is a very nasty hit right there.
Well, a lot of the field's taken this opportunity to come down on pit road. Logan Spencer, driver in pit road. Chris Pugliese, driver in pit road. Mike Schaefer, Mike Miller, Justin Osterman, and Logan Spencer, all drivers down on pit road. Nathan Peacock also down on pit road, getting some damage fixed on that 72 machine. Stages out here.
An issue for the 14 of Daniel Scruggs under caution. Gassed it up a little too hard and spun the car around right in front of, I believe, the 21. Back to sorry to interrupt you there, Tom, but an unusual sight to behold, under caution and everything.
Let's take another look and see if we're backed up far enough here for Daniel.
I think this is after he gets going. Doesn't want to go quite far.
Yeah, we may have to just do one of these. We'll do the zip, 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 and then Daniel Scruggs. Yeah, but you see him down there. Looks like he's probably just going to try to gas it up a little bit and just spins right in front of. Is that Paxton Frith in the 21 machine? It is. Don't see a whole lot of damage, at least at first glance, on the front of that 21 machine. But if you're Paxton right there, super unfortunate incident. Just kind of running around under caution. Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, unfortunate incident is right, and I think at that low of a speed, the drivers both got away with it, and it was all right. The most damaged thing, I think, is going to be the 14's ego, and wow, that is not going to help Tom. Taking off the right front fender with the barrels on pit road. Not a good night for the 14 of Daniel Scruggs to start out this evening, but back to the front. It's Matt Semple in the 8, and Jaden Wicks in the 9 up top. Got the pace truck out here this evening in Darlington, probably expecting a whole lot of loose scrap metal around the track, all that debris from smashing up some race cars. Make sure you got enough clearance on that thing. So far this evening, we've seen Matt Semple lead every lap. We will be restarting at the beginning of lap 15. We are, again, racing to lap 50, 5-0, to the end of stage 1. And of course, the race itself, 184 laps this evening. Barney's got the green flag in hand, ready to throw that thing. Matt Semple, Jaden Wicks lead us into the restart zone. And back on the loud pedal we go. Drivers are exiting turns 2 right here. Matt Semple, Jaden Wicks, Brad Holmes. Make it 4 cars of Brendan Brody all in a line. Get clear, and as it looks like we had some contact a little further back with, looks like maybe it was a 38 getting into the wall. That would be Gary Miller. Out of turn 2, lost a couple positions. Hopefully that damage isn't too significant, but now we've got a lot of the field bottled up right here. This is going to be effectively 6th on back, starting with Justin Osterman, as it looks like the top 5 have all gotten themselves more or less clear of the chaos. Everyone kind of trying to file back in after that early caution and try to find that rhythm again. Didn't really have a lot of time on that first run to figure it out, but see what we can do here. We're on board with the 89 of Logan Spencer, trying to get around the 29 of Mike Schaefer. This is going to be a battle for the final spot on the top 10, heading into turn 1. And Logan Spencer nearly gets into the wall. Heads up driving to keep it out, and the 29 is going to use the wall a little bit, coming out of turn 2 to angle that car in the right direction. No harm, no foul, especially in these next-gen cars. They can take quite a beating. Yeah, we can see that right front of the 38 of Gary Miller caved in just a little bit right there. Here's a really good shot of it coming down the front stretch. That is going to be enough to feel it behind the wheel. You're going to feel that going through the corners. It's going to hurt the handling of that car, and depending on just how much structural damage is done to the suspension, maybe it's worth the fast repair next time you can come down. But I think Gary Miller will be able to stay out at the very least till the next caution opportunity. We got the 21 here of Paxton Frith in 10th. Go ahead, Tom.
Driver that we also saw involved underneath a yellow flag incident with Daniel Scruggs in that 14 machine. A little bit of damage on the right front. Unsure if that's from the contact underneath the yellow flag or if that is from other incidences. We've got drivers. Looks like they're getting their Darlington stripes out here tonight, Arie.
Oh, they are. We're seeing it left and right. I feel like every single lap there's at least one car hitting the wall somewhere, so... By the end of it, there's not going to be many right sides left intact, but I'll tell you one thing so far. Matt Semple's got it figured out comfortably in the lead, because we're on lap 20 now, but Jaden Wicks comfortably holding on to second place. Throughout the evening so far, we're seeing a really good start to this race by the 9 car of Jaden Wicks starting the playoffs. Real Strong has had some really chaotic races in the past couple events, so this could be a really good run for Jaded. Brad Holmes very quietly in 3rd, and that is about a 2nd gap between the leader and Brad Holmes in 3rd place as we run.
Want to give a shout out, Arie, to driver number 8, Matt Semple. Matt and his family welcomed in a new family member yesterday. Their daughter Margot was born into the world, and Matt out here. I gave him some lip about not racing on Tuesday, but I figure, the birth of a child is a pretty good reason to be missing it. So Matt Semple out here back on track for the first time in probably about 2 weeks in that number 8 machine. Missed last week's race at Daytona, and that number 8 was on baby watch, and everybody is healthy and back home, and Matt is racing once again in that number 8 Chevy Camaro as they start their playoffs out here.
He is indeed, and congratulations to him and his family. That is a big event, and I would say worthy of missing a race or two here on the sim. But Matt Semple, I mentioned it a little earlier, he's picking up right where he left off. He's got some extra motivation now, but last time we saw him on track at Richmond, he went out there and dominated the race, put on a performance, and so far here this evening at Darlington, doesn't look like anyone's quite got the speed for him, but we also haven't seen the tail end of a really long run, and those can be quite a doozy at a track like Darlington that's going to chew through your tires a good bit. So, remains to be seen. Our lone driver not to be in the playoffs, but be on track this evening, Christopher Pugliese in the 42, is running in 7th, splitting that little ticker on the left side of the screen pretty nicely, pretty evenly in half with all that red. We'll see what Christopher can do this evening, being surrounded by so many drivers in the playoffs. Coincidentally, this is also the start of this train of cars right here, as we see Logan Spencer in the 89 getting loose. Can he save it? No. Around he goes. Noses into the wall. Yellow is not out. Looks like he was able to spin away from everyone just enough. Get a replay right here. Looks like he was already spinning at that point. That was an incident that looked like it was happening for an entire straightaway already. Loose right there. Just a little overcorrection on an overcorrection after getting loose out of turn 2 for the 89 of Logan Spencer. Unfortunate for his race, but that damage shouldn't be too bad, and as long as he can nurse it around on those scraped up tires, at least until the caution, he might be okay. Jump up with our race leaders now. We've got Jaden Wicks in the 9 car, sitting comfortably about 7 to 8 tenths behind race leader Matt Semple. He's held that gap now for quite a while, just been sitting right in that pocket. Matt has not been pulling away, and Jaden has not been closing that gap. I think the same can be said for Brad Holmes, keeping it about a second to the race leader, just sitting comfortably in that pocket. And what that tells me more than anything is that each and every one of these drivers up towards the front, they're racing the racetrack, and they're watching their tires. None of them are too focused on making up any time, trying to pass anyone, or run away. Each of these drivers kind of has their tires in mind. There's going to be some really long runs tonight, and those tires are going to be the name of the game. So, managing these gaps, the top 4, top 5 all on your screen, with the 77 of Roy Hill III just on the frame there. Looks like the 89 of Logan Spencer is going to peel down out of the way of the race leaders. It's going to be 1 lap down now for the 89 car after his spin. And we'll see if he remains slow in terms of pace, or if he was just letting the leaders by. But it looked like he might have been struggling with some more damage than initially suspected.
One driver already on pit road here, Arie. Mike Miller on and off pit road. Not sure if this is for fuel or if this is for tires damage, or a combination of all 3. But driver number 24, that Ford Mustang, down and off a pit road with a pit stop time of about 55 seconds. So possibly an issue for Mike Miller, maybe getting some damage done on that number 24.
Yeah, 55 seconds is not a pit stop you want to see, especially under green. But all it takes is one hit to the wall, wrong spot, wrong time, and you've got no choice but to come down and get that fixed under green. Sometimes it's just that bad. Hopefully for the 24, he can get back into the hundreds. Oh, race leader Matthew Semple hard into the wall outside of turn 2 at a slight correction in the worst possible spot. And that could have been enough to result in some suspension damage for the 8 car. It doesn't visibly look all that bad, but that was a pretty nasty hit. We see Jaden Wicks. We've got an issue. Brad Holmes. I was gonna say, I heard a car spinning. That's gonna be 3rd place runner Brad Holmes sliding across the front stretch. No significant damage. See if we can get a replay of what happened here. Caution is out for the 2nd time this evening. Man, this looks like it was another one that started and kind of continued all the way down a straightaway. See if we can't queue up for the back replay by chance. He's already spinning off a turn 4 there. That looks eerily similar to what we saw to the 89, just on an opposite part of the racetrack. Get loose off of the corner, try to correct it, overcorrect it, and just slide the whole way down. Not the biggest of blows to Brad Holmes' race this evening. Kept it out of the wall, kept it out of any other cars, and able to keep it going. But going to lose that track position, and might be forced to take a set of tires earlier than he would like to take a set of tires. So another thing to keep in mind.
Nice job by the remainder of the field to get around that incident for Brad Holmes. One of the incidents that didn't see a whole lot of damage on that 0-0 machine. Probably got a little bit lucky there, but well, these drivers are going to be looking at the end of the stage here in about 18 laps. They've got a total of 6 tire sets to use in the race out here tonight. So I got to imagine some of them may be thinking about coming down here. Gary Miller, Brad Holmes, Paxton Frith, drivers on pit road, possibly getting a set of fresh Goodyears here, as it looks like the leaders may be possibly doing the same.
It's not the worst strategy out there, and that was one thing I was going to keep an eye on, but I don't think the 8 car of Matthew Semple is coming down on pit road. Now, the biggest thing I was wondering was, would Matt come down onto pit road to fix that damage? Because he hit the wall pretty hard, and him staying out right here tells me one of two things. He didn't consider giving up the track position and getting that damage fixed early, or he's confident enough that it wasn't enough damage to really affect the handling of that car, and he can stay out to try and win this stage and then figure it out from there. But if I'm behind the wheel of that 8, I hit that wall that hard, even if I am the race leader, I'm definitely considering coming down to fix that early, especially with a little surprise caution here in the middle of stage 1. Definitely taking that opportunity, but maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it looked worse than it was. You can see we've got 4 cars on pit road currently as the field exits turn 4 right there. A lot of cars with varying amounts of damage so far this evening. We're only 34 laps into the event, but that's Darlington for you, and that's going to be the story of the night as we go further and further into it. We've got the 42 and the 89. It's going to be Christopher Pugliese and Logan Spencer, respectively, pulling into their pit stalls here to potentially work on a little bit more damage. Up front, it's the same story it has been. The 8 car of Matt Semple and the 9 of Jaden Wicks on that front row, but it's looking a little bit different just behind. It's going to be Justin Osterman back up to 3rd place after a spin very early on in this race. The 54 has recovered using these cautions and done well to do so. In 4th place, that Valvoline Ford Mustang of Roy Hill. The 3rd going to be on the outside of that 2nd row on this restart. We'll see what Roy can do. Getting this close to the front for a restart here. This is going to be a little shootout to the end of the stage. These leaders are on some old tires. Maybe we'll see somebody with new tires come charging up through the field, but 34-lap old tires. We're racing to lap 50 for the end of stage 1. Barney's got the green flag in his hand, and Matt Semple going to hit the gas and lead us into turn 1. It was a pretty good restart for Jaden Wicks in the 9. Can he pin it to the outside of Matt Semple? No, he can't. It's going to be clear for race leader in the 8 Camaro. Justin Osterman's going to hold on to 3rd place ahead of Roy Hill, and we've got a couple cars touching the wall, but nothing too bad. As we head into turn 3, Matt Semple's already opened up that gap to about 0.3 of a second over Jaden Wicks. Justin Osterman got the race leaders in his sights now. He's made up from that earlier incident. And we'll see what the 54 can do. We can hear him shifting down the front stretch and downshifting into turn 1. Coming out of turn 2 right here, and just has to get out of the gas quite a bit to avoid hitting the wall. That's going to open the door for the 77. Roy Hill, the 3rd, going to look to the inside in that Ford Mustang. Maybe give Justin just a bump, not even very close. But coming out of turn 4, Justin Osterman's going to have the momentum, going to hold on to 3rd place. $36 laps down on lap 37. Our biggest mover so far is going to be the 29 of Mike Schaefer, sitting just behind Ray Hill here, sitting in 5th position, up 5 positions from where he started this race. A good start for that 29. Very quiet so far this evening, but slowly picking them off one by one. And right behind that 29 is going to be double Brad Holmes, the bringer of that last caution, the 2nd caution of the night, with a spin down the front stretch. Already back up to 6th place and looking to get back into the top 5, pick off another name here, but that's not going to help getting into the wall on the exit of 2. That's going to open the door for the didn't quite catch what car that is, the 24 to head around the 00 right here, and the 24 is actually 3 laps down, so pardon me on that one. Mike Miller not actively racing for position there, and that's probably why he let the 00 go. Another thing I'm noticing up front is Jaden Wicks has fallen back to that 7/8 of a second gap to race leader Matt Semple. Now, that's where he was riding for that longer run earlier here in stage one, and it looks like it's gotten to about that point again. It seems like anything a little closer, and that dirty air is affecting Jaden Wicks just a little too much, but once he gets to that 7/10 mark, he can kind of sit in that little pocket and just manage that gap to Semple in the 8-hour race leader. In third place, you got to go a little further back. It's the 54 Justin Osterman. It's about a second and a half behind race leader Matt Semple, as we see Brad Holmes still looking to make up some more positions here. Sitting in 5th now, going for 4th on the 77 of Roy Hill. The third going to be close off of turn 2. Takes a peek to the inside, can't quite get there. Going to have to line up and try again. Ooh, into the wall goes the 77 of Roy Hill. That's going to open the door for Brad Holmes. It's going to get tight off of 2. The 77 into the wall again, and he's going to lose 2 positions because here comes the 29 of Mike Schaefer. Roy Hill on the outside, going to try and fight back through turns 3 and 4, but the 29 is not having any of it. Going to slide up ahead of him and hold on to that position. That's P5 yet again for the 29 of Mike Schaefer. Taking over from Roy Hill in the 77, falling back a couple of positions from the restart there. And that puts us in an interesting position with Brad Holmes back up into the top 4. Basically recovered from that incident earlier. Brad Holmes was running in P3. And just like that, back into the mix for some serious stage points as the leaders are going to come across to end lap 42. We are, of course, racing to lap 50. So stage is winding down. The time is now if you want to go up there and make a pass. If you want to defend from behind you, you got to secure your points a little bit early, because at a track like Darlington, you never know what to expect. Never know what's going to happen. Oh, the 24 car going to take a hard spin, hard hit into the inside wall. That is Mike Miller in the 24. Already 3 laps down. Another big hit to that left front. You can see just how much it's affecting that car. We'll get a replay right here. Coming off of turn 2 in the middle of traffic, just gets loose. Gets loose, can't keep the car straight, and that's going to be a hard hit on the left side, particularly that left front, and it looks like there's a little bit of wheel damage right there, so unfortunate for Mike Miller here. Had a lot of wheel cranked to keep it out of the wall and keep it out of his competitors, and wound up backfiring out of 2 there, but back with our race leaders. Lap 45, and oh, we got another spin. It's the 89 of Logan Spencer, nose first into the wall, just out of frame there, and yeah, that's a good bit of damage. Now, it being nose first may have kept the suspension and wheels intact, maybe not, but it looks like Logan Spencer got loose pretty early in turns 3 and 4, and wow, that is a very hard hit. So disregard the maybe no issues. I think that's going to be some considerable issues for the 89 of Logan Spencer, flattening the front of that Chevy Camaro. Just getting loose, coming down the banking of turns 3 and 4, just can't quite get out of that lazy slide. And once you're in a lazy slide like that, it is extremely hard to correct a car and come back from that. But look at this. Something happened to former P2 Jaden Wicks, because now it's Justin Osterman about 2 seconds off of the rear bumper of Matthew Semple. Brad Holmes up to 3rd. Mike Schaefer, up to 4th. Something happened with Jaden Wicks, not entirely sure, but now sits P8, 12, 13 seconds back. See if we can get a replay right here. Coming through turns 3 and 4, and the 9 car of Jaden Wicks going to get loose. Spins it completely sideways, but it looks like he is able to keep it going. That, of course, did not bring out the caution, as he was far enough off the racing surface. But unfortunate for Jaden Wicks, had some real good stage points lined up. But look at this, the 29 getting the elbows out. Mike Schaefer to the inside of Justin Osterman in the 54. The stage is coming down to a close, and the 29 wants that extra point. Gonna concede going into turn 1 right here. Justin Osterman going to hold on to 3rd place, as Brad Holmes has made it around both of these guys and back into, or I should say, up to P2. For what I believe to be the first time this evening. Still sitting a little over 2 seconds behind race leader Matt Semple. These tires are worn out. We see the 42. Christopher Pugliese nailed the wall on the entry of turn 3. Mr. Pugliese is 3 laps down as they run. This is a race of attrition if I have ever seen one, as we are not even to the conclusion of stage 1. 2 laps to go, and As Matt Semple brings us through turns 3 and 4, we'll be taking that white flag for stage 1. 10 stage points up for grabs, and here in the playoffs, bigger than ever to secure those stage points and make the most out of them. Matt Semple taking that white flag for stage 1. Looks like he might be trying to save just a little bit of fuel. Those tires are pretty worn, so Matt's going to be cruising at this point. He's allowing that gap to second place to close up just a little bit. Brad Holmes was 2.3 seconds back. He's now 1.8. Matt Semple just using all of that gap. He's gone. Brad Holmes with trouble. Gonna slide down to 5th place at the moment. Nope, he jumps back up. It looks like it was a blink, a little bit of an internet connection issue, but I saw him falling down the order, and that could have been bad. Thought we had a spin from the double-double again. Just a long blink out due to internet connection. Either way, stage 1 winner. It's going to be Matthew Semple in that bright yellow and black Morgan & Morgan Chevy Camaro. Matt Semple, the newest father around town, brings home 10 stage points at the end of stage 1. Starts off these playoffs with a bang. We're going to get our field racked back up and head into some pit stops. Top 10 order at the conclusion of stage 1. The points as they were. Matt Semple, P1. Brad Holmes coming home with 9 points. We've got Justin Osterman in 8th. Mike Schaefer in 3rd, excuse me. Mike Schaefer in 4th. Roy Hill the 3rd in 5th. Paxton Frith just outside the top 5 with 6. Jaden Wicks down in 7th at the end of stage 1. Gary Miller in the 38 and 8th. Logan Spencer in 9th. And Brandon Brody rounds out our top 10 at the conclusion of lap 50. Every single one of these cars are going to peel it down on the pit road and get their service done. For a lot of these drivers, it's going to be the first new set of tires they're taking this evening. We've got a good handful of drivers here who are on the original tires they started this race from, I do believe, including race leader Matt Semple in the 8. It's a pretty long pit road, and it is a particularly narrow pit road as well. We see Jaden Wicks back there trying to get some damage fixed early and may go a lap down. Jaden Wicks with some significant damage. That looks like more damage than from that spin down the front stretch. Looks like Jaden Wicks might have had another incident to get some of that damage right there, because it seemed like he had gotten going fine. Here we are then, race off a pit road. Justin Osterman gets a good pit stop, but is it good enough to beat Matt Semple off? That was close. Matt Semple spun the tires quite a bit, despite having that first pit stall. We'll see how everything shakes up, but we may have a new race leader. Let's see here, on board with Jaden Wicks heading into the pit road. And, not what... Oh, that was an engine, too. Jaden Wicks. That car is going to have to wait for it to tow and then take that fast repair, assuming he's still got it. Jaden Wicks just not ready for those barrels to be there at the end of pit road. And Jaden Wicks has had some issues on pit road in recent weeks here and in other places as well. So I won't speak too much more on the matter. I feel like I've given Jaden a curse, but hate to see that, and hopefully we can get that fast repair in before too long and can still come out on track. We'll have to keep an eye on that situation. Unfortunate. Jaden Wicks was real fast tonight, running second for much of stage 1. It would appear as though Justin Osterman in the 54 is our race leader at the conclusion of pit stops, electing to take the outside line. I do believe this is going to be the first time this evening we've seen our race leader on the outside line, delegating Matt Semple to the inside of row 1, where he has been restarting all night, but Matt Semple will not be the control car on this restart. You can see we've got 6 cars in good shape, ready to restart. Every other car in the field is coming back from the pits, getting some damage fixed actively, or coming back from getting that damage fixed, or maybe even acquiring some more damage at this rate. Either way, these 6 drivers with clean race cars are ready to have at it yet again. It's going to be Justin Osterman in the 54 and Matt Semple in the 8. Leading us back to green for the start of stage 2. We are racing to the conclusion of lap 100 for stage 2 this evening. Barney's got that green flag ready. Justin Osterman's on the pedal, and we are green.
Field of 14 cars makes their way out of turn number 2 as everybody kind of single files out through the first 5, 6, 7 cars out here. First car out of line, Mike Schaefer looks like he's going to be dropping down, perhaps giving Paxton Frith a spot down there. But Justin Osterman, again, Arie, up and down night for Justin.
That it is, the all-or-nothing driver out there. We're going to have to come up with a good nickname for Mr. Osterman, but that 54 car looks real good out front. One of my favorite paint schemes that is raced here in the Friggy Diggy Racing League. That's about as much bias as you'll see me show, but Justin Osterman out front. Matt Semple, hungry to get that lead back. I think Matt knows just how big of a deal that clean air is at a track like this, a tire-eating track in a very narrow track. Very often, these cars are all running the exact same line. And with a track that eats up tires in which you're riding the same line, nothing is more important than that clean air. So Matt Semple, going to be ready to take it, going to be ready to put Justin under some pressure here as we head down the backstretch and get into the tight turns 3 and 4. This is a really good onboard shot. We could hear just how much engine braking Matt Semple is using on the entry of turn 3. Gonna rock it down the front stretch, shift it into 5th gear, and then drop it into turns 1 and 2. Actually does not downshift by the sounds of it through turns 1 and 2, at least not early in the run. Could be more of an older tires thing, but listen to this. Matt Semple is downshifting at about the same time he starts braking. And if you ask me, that is a fantastic way to enter turns 3 and 4 here at Darlington, using that engine braking so that you're taking the onus off of the brakes. So you're kind of working in tandem, a little bit on the engine, a little bit on the brakes, and that allows the car to handle really well. Engine braking is often utilized by some of the best out there, and we're going to see Matt Semple with a great run down the backstretch. Justin Osterman going to fight back on the outside, sends it into turns 3 and 4, not ready to give up the lead yet. They're close. You can just about fit a piece of paper between the two. Down the front stretch we go. Matt Semple still to the inside, trying to get that side draft, and this is where it gets sketchy. They are just barely going to touch, I think. If it was a touch, it was a very light one. Matt Semple has to get out of the gas. Advantage Justin Osterman on the first go. As our drivers run through turns 3 and 4 right here, you can see some of the different lines. Matt Semple taking the bottom through turns 3 and 4. You can see the 54 and the 00 on either side of that Matt Semple sandwich, taking the high line through turns 3 and 4. More often than not, that's going to be the one part of the track where you might see a differing line. If you ask me, I'm more of a bottom feeder when it comes to Darlington around turns 3 and 4. I don't usually like going up to the middle or up top. I find the most success around the bottom. So I like what Matt's doing, but I like as well that we see a lot of variation, because variation in lines leads to some of the best racing we'll see. Brad Holmes just nicking the wall a little bit out of turns 4 right there. No harm, no foul. And closing in on these two who are battling for the race lead. Matt is so focused on trying to get the pass done, and Justin is so focused in not letting that happen, that here comes Brad Holmes in the 00. Not too far behind, about 5/10 behind the race leader, looking for an opportunity. All right, out of turn 4 we go down the front stretch. Matt Semple's got a run. Is he going to do anything with the run? He's not. He's going to play in it right on the back of Justin Osterman. He's going to try and force an error through turns 1 and 2. And that is a pretty good strategy. If you don't want to take a run into a risky corner like that, nice driving from Matt Semple to keep it out of the wall there. But as I was saying, if you don't quite want to make the move there, if it's a little too risky, if you don't like your odds, you can plant your nose on the rear bumper of that guy in front. Maybe not touching them, but just close enough that they feel it and they're thinking about it all the way through the corner. And the more you make them think, the more likely it is for them to make a mistake. So we ride on board here with the aid of Matt Semple, the fastest car so far this evening, and yet again looks to be the fastest car, trying to figure out how to get back to that clean air. Got a fantastic battle for the lead at the moment, and Brad Holmes might be making it a 3-way battle before too long right here. Boy, would that be quite something. As we run at the moment, biggest mover is still the 29 car Mike Schaefer in 5th place. We've got Roy Hill in 4th in the 77 in the Valvoline car. And after that, you've got to jump back about another 3 seconds to the rest of the field. 21 of Paxton Frith in 6th. Mike Miller in the 38 in 7th. Logan Spencer in 8th. Those are all of our lead lap cars as we run. 9th on back, at least 1 lap down. And it looks like Jaden Wicks was able to get back out on track, running only 2 laps down. Just had to wait for that towing time and take that quick repair. But the 9 car is not going to have any more quick repairs this evening, so he'll have to be a little careful. All right. What say we do it again? Down the backstretch, Matt Semple with a huge run right on the back bumper of the 54 of Justin Osterman. Does not peek to the inside, almost pushes the 54 into the corner. Matt Semple absolutely taking the aggressive intimidation approach into turns 3 and 4 there. Gets a nose to the inside. He's going to go for it into turns 1 and 2. Or is it just a feigned move? He's going to let the 54 get the advantage through turn 2 here, and off of the exit we go. It's all good and clean, but this actually brings Brad Holmes into the picture, closer to Matt Semple than Matt Semple is to Justin Osterman. Could Matt Semple lose P2 to double-double here, who might fancy taking that position away and trying to hold on to it, as we see a little bobble from the 8. All good, as you could just see how good Semple is able to drive this track, closing that gap to the 54 and running away from the 00 like it's nothing. 1 lap ago, the 00 was on the bumper of the 8, and now the 8 is on the bumper of the 54. Looking to the inside again. He's got the fastest car this evening so far. Can Matt Semple get there? Oh, he's going to get into the 54 and has to check up Brad Holmes into the back of the 8 of Matt Semple. All 3 race leaders parked on the front stretch. Unbelievable here as we approach lap 69. We are gonna need to back that one up. All 3 race leaders crashing into each other. Matt Semple gets into the 54 through turns 3 and 4. That's just some hard racing, and Matt checks up big time. Not intending to do that. Brad Holmes not ready for the checkup and just full speed into the back of Matt Semple. That is going to be significant damage for all 3 drivers. Maybe least of which Matt Semple taking that hit to the rear, but nonetheless, that is quite the incident for our race leaders. You're riding on board with Matt Semple, trying to get the pass done on the bottom, drifting up to the middle. The car is just tight. Matt wants to turn to the bottom, but he just can't. The car is tight. Justin's trying to take an arc off of that high side. They get into each other. Matt feels bad. That's why he's on the brakes. And Brad Holmes just not ready to react in time, gets into the back of that 8 car. And you know what? Actually, I think the 54 got through relatively unscathed. I think the 8 and the 00 got the worst end of that one. And Justin Osterman might just need a new set of tires here and maybe a new pair of pants. But after all of that, look at who we've got on the race lead. It's Roy Hill III in the 77. And that Mark Martin throwback, that Valvoline Ford Mustang, looking pretty out front. That is absolutely one way to shake things up, but it might just change up a little bit. We got Justin Osterman coming back up through the field. It looks like timing and scoring is going to keep the 54 in P3 after that incident right there. So a little harm, a little foul for the 54 there, but nothing too crazy. Justin Osterman should be able to carry on pretty nicely there, but Matt Semple on pit road, or just heading out of pit road. I do believe Brad Holmes came down pit road as well. We'll see if those drivers elected to take their fast repair this evening as we complete lap 70 under caution for the 4th time this evening. We are, of course, racing to lap 100 to conclude stage 2. All right, lights out on that pace truck. It looks to me like Roy Hill is going to elect to restart on the outside line. That's going to put 2nd place Paxton Frith in the 21 car on the inside. Row 2 is going to consist of Justin Osterman in the 54 on the bottom, Mike Schaefer in the 29 up top. Row 3, it's going to be double-double. Brad Holmes involved in that last incident, restarting in P5 alongside Currently the 24 of Mike Miller, who is 18 laps down, but they might give that position to a lead lap car or lap down car, depending by the time we get to the line. Perhaps not. Looks like the 24 is going to stay there. All right, here we go. Last couple stragglers trying to catch the back of the field, but the field is in the hands of Barney with that green flag, and more specifically, Roy Hill in the 77. Let's get this run to the end of stage 2 underway. Off of turn 2, Roy Hill leads the field by half a second over Paxton Frith, who's under pressure already for Justin Osterman in the 54. Gonna make that pass quickly. If the 21 can't get to the outside, he can't, and that 54 is back up to P2, hungry to get back to the race lead. Big hit, double hit for the 89. That's Logan Spencer, a little bit further back, currently on the lead lap after having some incidents earlier, but some significant right front damage, and gonna get turned around by the 98 of Brendan Brody. And that just goes from bad to worst for the 89 of Logan Spencer. That's going to bring out our 5th caution of the evening. And Brendan Brody spins a little bit later on, flirting with the apron right there. Car just goes around. So it looks like there's some tight battles going down the front stretch. Matt Semple trying to make up some positions, taking it 3 wide into turn 1. And it looks like that's where it starts. Brendan Brody gets sent 3 wide, tries to move up the track a little bit. Logan Spencer bounces off of the wall into the 98, and that is just a nightmare waiting to happen. That is unfortunate for both of those drivers involved, and just one of those things. Going into turn 1, 3 wide at Darlington is always going to be about a coin toss on if anyone is going to make it out cleanly, and did not work on that occasion. Back up front, it's the 77. It's Roy Hill III leading this race. Justin Osterman in second. And as a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up, if I can find in the Discord here. I cannot. I do not see the 54 in the Discord. I was going to ask Justin Osterman about that crazy race so far, but I might not be able to get Justin Osterman. I am going to pull down double in the 00 Brad Holmes if I can here to see about asking the 00 about that incident right there. Let's see, I might. There we go. All right, we've got double. Brad Holmes in the 00 here. Brad, I'm pulling you up. You're in P4 right now. Pulling you up mostly to talk about that incident from a couple cautions ago where we seen all 3 of the race leaders get together off of turn 4. Just walk me through that chaos and how you're feeling for the rest of this evening.
Yeah, it kind of ruins my strategy on tires. I think I'm a little low on tires in the pits now, but I just think the 54 and the 8 were going at it, and it's such a hard place to pass that I think from what I saw, maybe the 8 came up, maybe the 54 came down, but I just had nowhere to go. So use that fast repair we're lucky enough to have, and now start stressing about tires.
Absolutely. Well, you've got a real fast hot rod this evening, and potentially more importantly, you are ahead of the 8 of Matt Semple at this point, which could play big later this evening. We'll send you back down into your channel. Good luck through the rest of this evening, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Arie. Appreciate it.
All right, that's double. Brad Holmes and the 00 going to be restarting P4. Looks like up front, our race leader in the 77 of Roy Hill, again, electing to take that outside line. I do like taking the outside line if I'm the race leader here at Darlington. It just flows very nicely. If you restart on that outside line, you don't have to go up there if you are on the bottom and you get a good restart. And if the second place gets a good restart, I would rather be the outside car than the inside car more often than not. Going into turn 1 here at Darlington, you just have that slight advantage. Looks like we've got most of the field caught up. This restart's going to look a lot better than that last one. Not waiting for the stragglers fixing their damage. Looks like we've got most of the field back intact and ready to go. We're racing to lap 100 for the end of stage 2. It's going to be about a 24-lap shootout. Barney's got that green flag waiting. And into the restart zone we go. Roy Hill in the 77, back on the loud pedal. Oh, we've got trouble! Race leaders involved, all 4 of the race leaders. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse than 3 race leaders, let's make it 4. And Justin Osterman is still pinballing off of cars in the back. We are gonna need a shot or 2 of that one. It looks like the race leader's heading into turn 3. Oh, it starts at the 77. Roy Hill in the lead just gets sideways. Brad Holmes is right there with nowhere to go. Justin Osterman right there with nowhere to go. And Matt Semple right there with nowhere to go. That is a domino effect chain reaction wreck if I have ever seen one. Justin Osterman going to get the worst out of that. Logan Spencer just plows into the 54 with nowhere to go. And Logan Spencer has had a very bad night this evening with all of these incidents right here. Jump on board with the 89 of Logan Spencer. See if he's got any inclination. He gets into the corner hard and into the wall. Logan Spencer already having a hard time through turns 3 and 4. And it looks as though everyone up here is just kind of waiting to see what happens. And the 54 just right back up across the racing surface. Unable to keep that car down on the apron and right in front of the 89. Nowhere to go. Hate to see that happen, but 4 race leaders has got to be a new record for any of the races that I've seen. Unfortunate for the 54, but I do believe he may still have that fast repair, and he's definitely going to want to use it here. After the chaos settles, it's double-double. Brad Holmes in P1 and Matt Semple in the 8, P2. How many times have we seen this top 2 in any order, give or take, throughout this season here in the Friggity Racing League? These two, they know how to go at it. This is a rivalry if we've ever seen one, and we'll see what comes of it as they're pacing a little side-by-side right there, maybe checking each other's damage out just a little bit. Looks like we've got Chris Lawrence out in the chat listening in from work. Wishing good luck to all the playoff drivers. You love to see it. Always unfortunate when you can't be out there on track, of course, but always cool to be able to come in and check in on how it's going. It's been a crazy one so far this evening. We had 1 incident including 3 race leaders, and 1 incident including 4 race leaders. I don't know how much crazier it can get. We're not even to the end of stage 2 yet. Lights are out on the pace truck for the 6th caution of the evening. Field is going to be doubling up. It is Brad Holmes and Matt Semple on the front row for this restart. Going to be about a 20-lap shootout to the end of stage 2. Now, something to keep an eye on, something to be thinking about is we heard from Brad Holmes that he's not happy about his tire situation. These incidents and the timing of everything has resulted in Brad taking more sets of tires early on than he would like to. How is Brad going to play the rest of the stage? And going into stage 3, how is that going to look for the 00? We'll have to see. And you can't help but wonder if there are some other drivers in a similar position with all of the incidents that have happened this evening. We got that bright yellow and blue 38 of Gary Miller starting P3, making slowly making his way up towards the front. And now with a shot on the 2nd row alongside Paxton Frith in the 21. Pace truck is off the surface. Green flag is ready. And it's going to be Brad Holmes on the bottom. Going to lead us back to green. It's going to be a really good start from Matt Semple on the outside in that 8. Can he pin it there? No, he can. And it looks like we've got some cars in the wall further back. We keep it green. We keep it straight. So far, that's the 21 of Paxton Frith, who restarted P4, having some serious issues through turns 1 and 2. It looks like he's going to get some help from the 29. That is Mike Schaefer in the 29 getting into the 21. Looks like the 98 gets help from the 54. And both of these two are just at the raw end of the deal, getting put up into the wall and bumping into each other along the way. Unfortunate for those two, but we jump back up front. Brad Holmes, Matt Semple, they are breaking away from the rest of the field. And now Matt Semple's got an entirely different task on his hands. Now he's got to try and take that lead back, but this time it's going to be from rival Brad Holmes. Rival and good buddy, I might add. Brad Holmes, who Matt Semple owes a little grace from that race in Richmond where he pulled an aggressive block of Brad Holmes and he was not very happy about it. So we'll see if Matt cuts the 00 some slack. He gets into the wall just a little bit out of 2. Shouldn't be too much. I'm gonna jump on board with Matt Semple, jump behind the wheel, and let's just listen to the throttle and where he's deciding to shift. You can see just how blinding the sun is right now down that backstretch. Matt Semple going for the pass on the inside. He's going to complete it. But imagine running up towards 200 miles an hour off of that turn 2 down that long backstretch. You're going up to 200. You got the sun in your eyes. You can't see a thing, and you're going to go and try and pass a guy going into turn 3. It is no joke what these drivers are able to do as we see Matt Semple get the move done and get up to P1. Matt Semple now back in control of the race for the first time since the end of stage 1 and just in time for the final 15 laps of stage 2 as we cross the line. That will be what it will be. And we have some issues further back between the 54 and the 42. I do not believe there is a caution on the track at the moment. These two spinning down to the inside of the track. We can't get a further back. I have no idea where this started. It looks like it was already underway here. But the angle we got was not a very promising one. So we'll see right here. Going through turns 1 and 2, the 54 up on the wall, the 42 of Christopher Pugliese down to the inside. The 54's got that serious damage on the front nose. Hits the wall, and the 42 just gets into the 54 as well. They are both real tight, both getting into the wall. And the 54, at that point, he's got a lot of damage. That car is out of control. I don't think that's anything nefarious from the 54 as they go sliding to the inside. I am rather surprised that it did not bring out the caution by the looks of it. Race leaders are still going. And it looks like that is Justin Osterman now sitting P10 2 laps down, and Christopher Pugliese on the tail end of the lead lap as they run the two who were involved in that incident, of course. Looking through the field, I will say it's real interesting that the 89 of Logan Spencer is up to 4th. It looks like he saved that fast repair. Logan Spencer, that is for the right time, getting caught up in so many incidents through the first couple of stages of this race. Logan Spencer had that in his back pocket, used it, and is now sitting comfortably in the top 5, holding off that 29 car of Mike Schaefer for those 4th place stage points as we approach the end of the stage. But Mike Schaefer in the 29 gonna have a go with help from Jaden Wicks in the 9 to the inside of the 89. Will the 29 be able to do it? We got a lot of 9s in this situation, but off of turn 4, just enough to slide up in front, but Logan Spencer was not ready for the 29 to slide up and gets a little wiggle. Is going to brush the wall. Jaden Wicks now through, and that is Jaden Wicks is down 5 laps, so not racing for position, probably on some fresher tires. Move from the 29 to let him by. We see a little slide out of the 77 a little further back, Roy Hill. As these two continue to duke it out, Logan Spencer not ready to give up on a P4 just yet. A little further ahead, the 38 of Gary Miller sitting comfortably on an island in 3rd, and Brad Holmes sitting just under a 2nd behind race leader Matt Semple. Not currently putting any pressure on the 8 car for the stage win. This seems to be our closest battle at the moment. You can just hear the play with the throttle going through turns 1 and 2, trying to get that angle off of the corner. Using 4th and 5th gear, trying everything he can. Logan Spencer who we're on board with here, trying to chase down that 29, but it seems to me like the 29 of Mike Schaefer is just a tick faster at this point in the race. Just got it figured out just a little bit better. That move ahead is going to be Jaden Wicks, 5 laps down, getting around the 38, not for position, but the 38 of Gary Miller under pressure from the 29. Gary Miller had a hard time getting off of that corner, and that is going to open the door for Mike Schaefer to peek to the inside. Does the 38 have some wheel damage from that? He seems to be struggling through turns 3 and 4 quite a bit. He's going to have a good run down into turn 1. Will he fight, or will he give it up to the 29? He's going to fight, and they're side by side. We got 5 cars under a blanket coming out of turn 2. And it looks like everyone's keeping it going for the most part. Couple brushes with the wall. But that's going to be the 29 of Mike Schaefer up to P3. The 38 back into the wall. The 89 back into the wall. Here comes the 77 and the 54 to try and make their way through these two. The 54, of course, 2 laps down as we run. Looks like we might be 3 wide into turn 1. The 54 thinks better of it. And into turn 1 we go. Another brush with the wall right there. A lot of chaos between these drivers trying to figure it all out and get back to where they want to be. The 54 now going to take an easy move on the 38 down into turns 3 and 4. And with that, that is going to be the conclusion of lap 94. It looks like Matt Semple is that far ahead. We already completed lap 94. Got about 5 to 6 laps to go in stage 2. This battle seems to have sorted itself out for the most part. But right now, we're going to see if the 77 of Roy Hill can reel in the 29 of Mike Schaefer. Got to keep an eye behind him, though. That 89 is coming. Logan Spencer is not out of it yet. He is having quite a few brushes with the wall, though. Logan Spencer not able to stay out of it. Already used that fast repair, so got to be a little careful. Caution is out on the track. That is just barely within the stage designation. So if I'm not mistaken, that should be the conclusion of stage 2. Get a replay right here. Yeah, another issue for the 98 of Brendan Brody, as we can see on the replay right here. Not having a good night. Speaking of drivers who are finding a lot of trouble and unable to stay out of it. Gets a good run down the backstretch on the 24. Makes that move to the inside and just cooked it quite a bit on entry. Comes across the 24. Unfortunate for the 98. And is gonna come out the worst end of that as well. Just overcooking it a little bit on entry. Trying to get that pass done. And that's how it goes sometimes. Under caution for the 7th time this evening. Matt Semple gonna sweep both stages this evening at Darlington with a win in stage 2. Absolutely picking up where he left off, winning in Richmond. Matt Semple out here with another very good performance. We'll see, though. We'll see as the track cools down, as that sun starts to set. We'll see what everyone else has got for Matt Semple as the handling starts to shift just a little bit. I am getting word that time may be an issue this evening. This race might end up called on time before we reach the scheduled distance. Something to keep an eye on. We are an hour and 5 minutes into this event, and there are 50 minutes left to get it settled. We are just barely at, just barely past the halfway mark, I should say. So I feel like we would need to go green from here to the end if we want to make the scheduled distance. Never say never. But if we keep getting the cautions at the rate we have been so far, this event might end up called on time, which would be an unusual circumstance. But if you're familiar with all forms of racing, not the most unusual thing, of course. Lots of GT racing and IMSA type events running on time, of course. But why not? Why not throw it into the playoffs in the Friggity Racing League? Little time-based finish. You see Matt Semple coming off a pit road and maintaining first car off. That's going to be Jaden Wicks in the 9 and Justin Osman in the 54 ahead. They are going to be taking a wave around as the leaders receive, I believe, 1 lap to go to the restart. It's going to put Justin Osterman 1 lap down. Jaden Wicks down to 4 laps down, both with those respective wave rounds. On the front row, Matt Semple, you already know it, but alongside Matt Semple is going to be the 29 of Mike Schaefer, who we saw have a very fun, very entertaining run to the end of Stage 2 right there, securing some good points. Mike Schaefer, of course, our winner last time out under the lights at Daytona for the regular season finale, coming into Darlington, coming into the playoffs with a lot of momentum. That 29 Camaro. So we'll see what Mike Schaefer can do up here towards the front with a little bit more clean air and a whole lot less chaos. Barney's got that flag in hand one more time. Matt Semple going to lead us into the restart zone for the beginning of Stage 3. What do you say we crank those engines up just a little bit? Cross the line to complete lap 101. We just caught the tail end of a slide from the 38 of Gary Miller coming off of turn 4 right there. Green flag remains out, so it looks like the 38 might have gotten the car going again. Matt Semple in control of the field by about 0.4 of a second. Over double-double in second place. That's Brad Holmes in that red and white Camaro, trying to chase down the race leader, trying to see if he can figure out what Semple's doing different than him up to this point this evening. Mike Schaefer holding on nicely to 3rd place. Bit of a gap further back to get to the rest of the field, starting with Roy Hill in the 77 running in 4th. Out of turn 2 we go. We've got a little pack of drivers, a little bit of a battle back here for P5. That's going to be the 21. That's Paxton Frith. Defending from Logan Spencer in the 89. We'll be looking to the inside, looking to try and get a bumper there, have a run down the front stretch. Thinks about it, but has to duck back into line. And through the tricky turns 1 and 2 we go. You can see Logan Spencer get a little loose, get a lot loose. Might have gotten help from the 24. Somehow keeps that car straight. Impressive save from Logan Spencer to keep that car under control, but that could have been another bad blow for what has already been a very up and down evening. See a good save from the 9 of Jaden Wicks, just to the inside of Jaden Wicks, going to be the 24 of Mike Miller. Mike Miller, of course, 18 laps down, and mixing it up here with the lead lap cars. Justin Osterman in the 54, still 1 lap down. But currently racing for the Lucky Dog. That 54 is racing the 42. Justin Osterman racing Christopher Pugliese for the Lucky Dog at the moment. If a caution were to come out, whoever's the highest of those two is going to get that wave around, that free Lucky Dog, get back on the lead lap. So that's going to be an important battle for us to keep an eye on. And it looks like both cars are racing with a little bit of damage still. Both seems to be on the right front as Justin Osterman loses it off of turn 2. Caution is out. Does a quick spin around, gets the car pointed straight yet again, keeps it off of the wall. Good job to do so, but Justin Osterman's up and down, all or nothing night continues. We get a replay here, headed through turns 1 and 2 side by side with the 24 of Mike Miller. Justin Osterman gonna hit that apron just a little bit. That unsettles the car, gets loose, trying to exit. You're going up the banking, then you're coming off the banking, and that just unsettles the car like crazy. It's already a real slick surface. And so the 54 loops it around. Right on board here with the 24. As we exit turn 2, all it takes is dipping those left sides onto that little banking change, and then you're up the banking, down the banking, and that just unsettles the car enough. The 54 goes around. Unfortunately, no other drivers caught up in that incident right there. 54 gets it woed up just in time to make pit road. As back up front, Matt Semple continues to hold on to the lead in this race. The sun is setting to a point in which the front stretch is quite literally glowing. I promise that's still the asphalt. That is still the same pavement from before. But we are in the golden hour now. Track is cooling down, and the race is starting to get tight on time. Definitely something to keep in mind. We may not be racing to the full 184 lap distance, as time may become a limiting factor. We've got 44 minutes to figure out the conclusion of this event if they do not reach the lap total. In 44 minutes time, it will be called to time. We will continue to monitor the situation as it develops. But as it runs right now, it is lap 108. We are under caution for the 8th time this evening. Matt Semple in the 8 leads ahead of Brad Holmes in 2nd. Mike Schaefer in 3rd. Roy Hill running in 4th in the 77 car. Paxton Frith rounds out the top 5 at the moment. In the 21 car, Logan Spencer in 6th in the 89. Final car on track, never mind. Christopher Pugliese in the 42 in 7th place. Diving it on down. Christopher Pugliese, of course, our lucky dog on this caution, was battling the 54 of Justin Osserman for that honor, and the 54 was the caution. That gives it to the 42. Going to be on the lead lap again. We've got Brendan Brody in the 98, currently scored 8th. Justin Osserman in the pits in 9th, and Gary Miller 3 laps down in 10th. All right, these drivers are getting some heat back into those tires, getting ready for another run here. It's Matt Semple in the 8, Brad Holmes in the 00. Matt Semple, our race leader, in control of this restart, electing to take the bottom line on this restart, sticking Brad Holmes up top and giving Mike Schaefer a little bit of an opportunity to peek a nose on the inside of Brad Holmes if he gets a good enough restart. Barney's ready with that green flag. Matt Semple's ready with that nice yellow and black paint scheme. We're going to hit the loud pedal and get back to green flag racing once again. It was a good restart from Brad Holmes, but Matt Semple holds on to the lead as they run. Out of turn 2 we go. Is Brad Holmes going to have the opportunity to look to the inside? He feigns the move, but he's not close enough. Matt Semple going to hold on through turns 3 and 4. Brad Holmes gets a wiggle on entry. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. He's not going to have an opportunity to make a move into one, and he may be susceptible to the 29 behind as we dive down into turn 1. Looks like he's able to hold on to it. Take a preferred line through turns 1 and 2. The high-speed, banked, tight corners of the first half of Darlington Raceway. Some of my favorite corners on the whole schedule, as we see the 77 of Roy Hill starting to close in, but the 89 closing in on the 77. This is, of course, the back end of the top 5 as we run. Like these cars are all nose to tail, all in a line. All starting to figure this track out just a little bit more, figure out what their car likes, figure out what they need to do in and around traffic. Every lap that ticks by is another lap of experience for each of these drivers, and you learn something on every lap, whether you are the race leader or whether you are running in 10th place. It works all the same. As we see a little brush with the wall from the 77 of Roy Hill. Nothing too bad. Not going to give Logan Spencer the chance to get any closer at the moment. Looks like that sun is starting to set just a little bit behind everything. We're starting to see a lot less glowing on the track as we start to get to the end of the golden hour here. The sun starts to be obscured by some of the buildings, some of the trees in the area. We start getting that shade on the track. It's going to very rapidly cool down, and we're going to see some very quick changes in handling to these vehicles. I think Matt Semple might have it covered as we look to conclude lap 114 out of 184. We, of course, have the track cooling down as we go, but Matt Semple just seems to have something unlocked here at Darlington Raceway, something figured out. Much like he did 2 weeks ago at Richmond, the last event that the 8 was participating in. Could be a sign of things to come.
Still following the leaders around here right now. Matt Semple opened up about a second lead over second place Brad Holmes. Mike Schaefer not too far behind, about 0.3 of a second behind Brad Holmes is Mike Schaefer. Biggest movers of the night, Brad Holmes and Mike Schaefer, both up 7 spots from their qualifying positions. Out here in tonight's race, 184 laps from Darlington Raceway, as we begin to conclude this event out here tonight. Playoff race number 1. Next week, they're going to be going out to Gateway, followed by Bristol to make up their round 1 of the playoffs. And an issue for Justin Osterman. See if we can't see exactly what happened to Justin here, as it looks like Justin may have had another moment in that number 54 machine.
Not a good night for the 54 of Justin Osterman. Very up, very down. And yet again, having some issues. Looks like he might just be bringing that car to a halt for the evening. We jump back on board with our race leaders. At second place, Brad Holmes defending from third place, Mike Schaefer, trying to close up that gap. He's close enough to capitalize on any mistakes from the 00, but I'm not sure if the 29 of Mike Schaefer has the outright pace to go and take second place from Brad Holmes. He is quick, that much is for certain. Ooh, little slide out of the 29. We could just faintly hear it there on the broadcast. But the 29 going to lose a little bit of time to the 00, who seems content to run his own race and ride his line. The 00 didn't seem too affected by the pressure from behind. Speaking of pressure, the 89 of Logan Spencer still trying to put some pressure on the rear end of the 77. Logan Spencer just hanging out in the top 5 right there. As huge hit from the 77. That is what Logan Spencer needed. Waiting for that mistake, and will capitalize for P4. Getting ahead of the 77 of Roy Hill with a hard hit into the outside of turn 2 off of the corner. Such a dangerous corner, such a dangerous exit. Not just here, but across the entire schedule. That one will catch quite a few right front corners and mangle them up. Out front, Matt Semple's got a 1.5 second lead over second place Brad Holmes, but maybe not for long. That gap closed down quite a bit, and then it's opening back up because Brad Holmes is under pressure from the 29. Mike Schaefer unable to make it stick. Brad Holmes holds on, and look at this. Logan Spencer might be able to capitalize again. Now going for P3, the 29 stuck in the wall through turns 1 and 2, and all of a sudden Logan Spencer has found 2 positions in 2 laps, but maybe it might not last. The 29 looking to the inside. cutting it real close, going down the backstretch. Logan Spencer into the wall. Going to give the 29 the opportunity on the inside. Can Mike Schaefer get there? Logan Spencer with the momentum. They're going to be about even, heading into turn 1. Who gives and who takes? Both drivers are looking to take, but Logan Spencer is going to decide better of it. Gets out of the throttle. Allows the 29 to retake the position, but the 29 loses the car, overcorrects it. Slight contact with the 77. And the 29 car, Mike Schaefer, going to bring out the 9th caution of the evening. Losing that handle out of turn 2, right in front of this small pack of drivers right here. This was our battle for 3rd position. Here we are then, coming off of turn 2. Mike Schaefer's got the position locked up, but much like the incident we saw a little bit early on, just clips those tires onto that apron and goes up and down the banking in just the right way to lose that car. Very easy to do at Darlington, and see if we can't ride on board of the 77 here of Roy Hill, see how much contact there was, if it was significant, or if the 77 will be all right. We still got the sun kind of blinding us out of turn 2 right there. 29 overcorrects the 77, reacts just in time. It looks like that damage is going to be mostly negligible. iRacing may have even decided not to make it stick. But on to pit road we go with the field sans Brad Holmes. Staying out on the track now. This could be a result of what we saw, or what we heard a little bit earlier from the 00 Brad Holmes. Not happy with his tire situation. Did not have too many tires left in the pit box. Brad Holmes could be staying out to save a set. Now, that's an interesting call because this race might be decided by time, if anything.
Last time Brad Holmes and Paxton Frith were on pit road was lap 97. So they're going to have approximately 30 lap better tires. Matt Semple down to Chris Pugliese. As we take a look at the time remaining in the race, that 34 to go, that's not the laps, that's the times. 34 minutes is what these drivers have to settle out the score here for playoff race number 1. Think the give and take turns into a grab and go here, Arie, as we see just over 30 minutes remaining in this session.
That it does. Couldn't have said it better myself. And with only about 30 minutes remaining, if I were the 00, the 21, I of course don't know how many tires they have laying around, but with 30 minutes left in the session, I'm thinking I really wanted tires right there, because we're not going the full distance. We might not need every set of tires that we started this race out with, and well, you're on the front row, you've got about 30 lap old tires, and everyone second row on back has some fresh tires. You are the definition of a sitting duck on this restart. We've got the field pacing around. This is going to be 1-2 green for the restart for this evening's race. It's going to be Brad Holmes in P1, Paxton Frith in P2.
And Arie, I just spoke to race control Jaden Wicks out here tonight to confirm what their policy is on time limitations, and he said we are racing to the clock. So with 30 minutes remaining in this race, we are set to go racing once again here on the front stretch. Brad Holmes back in the loud pedal with about 30 lap older tires. Matt Semple coming on tires.
That's right. I don't think we'll make it very far out of turn 2 before we see a good run from the 8 of Matt Semple. You can see how much more speed he's got middle off. Brad Holmes able to carry more speed than I would expect on tires as old as they are. But Matt Semple just going to wait and bide his time. He knows the 00s on some older tires, and he doesn't really need to force the issue. He can take care of his own, and he'll get that lead before no time. Off of turn 4 we go, and across the line, Brad Holmes might lead this lap, maybe not. Matt Semple's there. And Matt Semple is gone just like that. A little wiggle from Brad Holmes. That's going to allow the 98 of Brendan Brody through, as well as the 77 of Roy Hill. Now, Brendan Brody in the 98 up to P2. Highest he's ran all night as we see a little blink out from the double zero. But Brendan Brody having some issues early on, having a lot of damage. Looks like that fast repair was used. And Brendan Brody with a clean race car back in the picture as Brad Holmes has an issue. Very slow, off the pace, losing positions on that high side. Dropping like a rock. More than just some old tires. Brad Holmes might have some damage after a collision with the wall. We'll monitor that situation. Speaking of the wall, that's going to be the 77 of Roy Hill bouncing off of it out of turn 2. Up front, Matt Semple continues to lead. It's by about 4/10 ahead of Brendan Brody in the 98. Now, I'm very curious to see what Brendan Brody can do. We have not seen that 98 car battling up front this entire evening. What will the 98 have for Matt Semple, if anything? Coming on late in this race for a charge. The sun has pretty much fully obscured itself behind the buildings and trees of the surrounding area. And it is at this point in which the track will start to rapidly cool down as the clock rapidly ticks down towards the end of this event. We see Brad Holmes way down on the apron, going to have to bring it down on pit road. We have 30 minutes remaining in this session. 30 minutes on the dot. That's what that 30 to go is telling you. Off of turn number 2 we go. Matt Semple in the lead. Brendan Brody. We've gone Roy Hill, Logan Spencer, and Christopher Pugliese rounding out the top 5. Christopher Pugliese in the 42. Getting that lucky dog a few cautions ago. Back on the lead lap and back in the fray. Our only non-playoff driver to be making a start this evening. Currently running in the top 5. Real good run for Mr. Pugliese in the 42. With Brad Holmes coming down on the pit road, that's going to put us down to 7 cars remaining on the lead lap. The 7th and final car being the 29 of Mike Schaefer. Caught up in some recent issues. Make that gap.
I'll tell you
up
what,
front.
Ari.
What's up?
Last time by, fastest car out on the track last time by, Chris Pugliese, finally got back up on the lead lap and running about within a tenth. That time was maybe about half a tenth, a little bit slower than Matt Semple. But the previous couple of laps, I've been watching that 42, fastest car on the track the past several laps.
Good information to have, and something to keep an eye on, something to monitor. With the 42 having been playing around a lap or two down throughout much of the race with those incidents, there is a chance that the 42 could be better off on tires than some of these other guys around him, or could be potentially worse. You never know when you're in the midst of all that chaos, whether you're saving sets or using them up. We see a lot of sparks there from the top 2 running around that high side. I do not believe they were making any contact with the wall. That is just the underside of these race cars bottoming out on the racetrack. They have a very complex system underneath these race cars, unlike any other generation. Running, of course, the diffusers. And very, very low to the ground. Very easy to scrape those up. Those drivers will feel it if they hit it just right when that car bottoms out. It doesn't want to turn. It doesn't want to react in those moments, and that's all it takes. Another big hit for the 77 of Roy Hill in 3rd place. Has been bouncing off of the wall outside of turn 2 just about every single lap in which we have seen that car come off at turn 2. Jump over here with the 29, running about 11 seconds back from the leader is Mike Schaefer with some damage on the right front of that race car. Currently a little off the pace. And this is a battle for position with the 21 of Paxton Frith. This is for 6th and 7th place, respectively. Both cars running off the pace. It looks like the 29 has a little bit more visible damage, but we don't quite know the situation with the 21. Or actually, correction, the 21 is on some very old tires, I do believe. The 21 was one of the 2 cars who stayed out on that last caution. So the 21 getting passed up just like that with those tires that are barely hanging on. We see Brad Holmes is back on track, currently running 5 laps down in 10th position, to the benefit of Gary Miller in the 38 and Jaden Wicks in the 9. Both pick up a position to 8th and 9th respectively, running multiple laps down. Here we have the 77 of Roy Hill trying to hold on to 3rd, but Logan Spencer in the 89 has the momentum because it looks like the 77 took a big hit to the right front. Has been flirting with that wall, has been hitting that wall, and the 77 might have just gotten a little more than he could have, than he was bargaining for. out of turn 2 on one too many occasions. That's a pretty big dent in that right front, and we could see just how much slower the 77 is than the 89 of Logan Spencer, who's going to capitalize up into third place, and then some, pulling away by quite a bit. This may just drop the 77 back into the clutches of the 42. Christopher Pugliese in that gold and black Chevy Camaro. We saw a little wiggle out of turn 4, but Christopher Pugliese currently sitting about 5.2 seconds behind race leader Matt Semple, who has opened up the advantage. Winner of stage 1, winner of stage 2, got the pole. Matt Semple leads the way. We're down to 26 minutes remaining in this session. Racing to the clock, as it would seem. Brendan Brody holding on to second, having found that track position late, getting through the chaos and using that fast repair in a timely fashion. Brendan Brody sitting just under 2 seconds behind race leader Matt Semple, but that is enough to be just about that same margin ahead of third place Logan Spencer. Our race leaders very spaced out at the moment. This is one of our longer green flag runs of the evening, as Matt Semple crosses the line to complete lap 141 out of the originally scheduled 184 laps. How many of these laps will we fulfill remains to be seen. But the track is starting to cool down quite a bit, and Matt Semple has a hang on it regardless of hot, cold. First, second, third, it don't matter. Matt Semple's got it going, and we jump on with the 42, Christopher Pugliese, our only non-playoff driver in the field this evening. Running at 5th, trying to track down the 77 of Roy Hill, and slowly doing so. This is Jaden Wicks, currently in 9th place, 4 laps down, but with a faster car, got some fresher tires, perhaps. Jaden Wicks had quite the speed through practice and qualifying in the first part of the race. Was looking very promising before having an incident coming on to the pit lane. It's got him stuck multiple laps down. So he's trying to go back and claw one the old-fashioned way. I think we get a little blink out from the 98, and I think Logan Spencer is closing the gap to Brendan Brody. Now, whether that's Brendan Brody making a couple mistakes, maybe used up his tires a little bit, I'm not entirely sure, but Logan Spencer has closed that gap now. Both are in the frame, and the pressure's on for the 98 to try and hold on to second place here as the race is starting to get closer and closer to its final standing. 2.4 seconds to the race leader. And that seems like about what it has been, more or less. So I want to say Logan Spencer might just be finding a little something to close this gap up to the back of Brendan Brody. We see Brendan Brody closing the gap up to Matt Semple a little bit through turns 1 and 2 there. So perhaps starting to put the pedal down and start getting some lap time out of that Ford Mustang. A little wiggle out of turn 4, but has got the gap down to 2.2 across the line that time by. Jaden Wicks, 4 laps down, looking to the inside of the 77 of Roy Hill. Gonna have to wait to the exit of turns 1 and 2. But appears to have the faster car. And man, another hit for Roy Hill. Not what the 77 car needs. Just cannot get off a turn 2 without smacking the wall. Just getting way too tight. And what that tells me from up here in the booth is that the 77 needs to have a little bit more off-throttle time through the center of the corner to be able to turn that car a little better on exit. Very easy to do here at Darlington. Most common way to acquire that Darlington stripe. And right now it's a little bit of a Darlington dent for the 77, but he's going to try and continue to hold on for a top 5 run. Currently in 4th, Christopher Pugliese, unable to close that gap particularly quick. Having a lot of speed earlier in the run, it looks like the 42 is kind of simmered out to around the pace in which his position shows. Up here with the 98 of Brendan Brody, that gap has closed to about 2 seconds now. It is slowly starting to close in now. Brendan Brody has been running faster than the race leader the last 4 consecutive laps by about 3/100ths and then nearly 2/10ths. Trouble for the 89 of Logan Spencer. We saw spinning down to the inside, still not got that car pointed straight, and Logan Spencer out of 3rd place has an issue. That is going to drop Logan all the way down to 5th position, as the field is fortunately very spread out. Fortunately in his case, but it looks like Logan Spencer gets sideways halfway through turns 3 and 4. Comes off of the banking and just very slow, very lazy slide. Very hard to get out of those. And just pointed the wrong way. Can't even get it going particularly quick.
Nice job by Logan Spencer there, Arie, to not hit the inside retaining wall down there. You can see as soon as the car is pointed up to the outside of the track, he's on the brakes, starts spinning the wheels to try to get it away from the inside retaining wall. Not a very easy thing to do when you have a single car spin here, especially on the front stretch, to miss the inside retaining wall. So good job by Logan there. We stay green here on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network with 20 minutes remaining in this session, or 30. Well, somebody do the math. Is that 33 laps remaining? 33 laps, 20 minutes. What gets here first?
That is the question. I'm going to bank on time getting here first, but we have yet to see. Jump back with Brendan Brody running in 2nd place. Now, in that chaos, we had started to talk about it, but Brendan Brody is closing the gap to race leader Matt Semple. This could be a number of things. Maybe Brendan Brody's tires are sitting just a little bit better than the 8 car of Matt Semple. Maybe Matt Semple is just letting off a little bit, getting ready to come down for a green flag pit stop. Perhaps. We are getting down to the closing moments of this event, and Brendan Brody has closed that gap to under 1.3 seconds. Into turns 1 and 2 we go. No more pressure from behind for Brendan Brody. The next car is about 6 more seconds back. Brushes the wall, but that 98 car is trying to get everything it's worth. Into turns 3 and 4 we go. That gap has fallen now to 1.7. Ballooned, rather, as Matt Semple is trying to pick up the pace. And we saw that mistake out of turn 2 for Brendan Brody. What will he be able to do with our race leader? Blinks out just a little bit. And that gap sits at about 1.6. 19 minutes to go in this event by the looks of it. Couple scrapes with the wall right here is the 42. That's Christopher Pugliese. Has closed in the gap to Roy Hill, that Valvoline 77 car just in front. Christopher Pugliese will be going for 3rd place here. That issue for Logan Spencer bumped both of these drivers up 1 position. And they have plenty of time to the next car back. That, of course, being Mike Schaefer in 5th position. Much further back. 21 seconds behind the race leader. We got a battle right here between the 00 and the 24. This is not for position. Both cars multiple laps down, but a little action on the track nonetheless. Never hurt anybody. Gap between the race leaders, about 1.4 seconds. Keeping an eye on that as we pan around the field and make sure we're keeping up with everybody else. The 42 of Christopher Pugliese has gotten within reaching distance of the 77 of Roy Hill, but can he close that final gap? Right about here is where he's going to start feeling that dirty air the most. From this point and any point closer. That 42's got his work cut out for him. He's on very old tires. They both are very old tires. And an opportunity like this right here, that is just what the 42 wants to see. If he can get an open line, if he can get some clean air on his nose to close up to the back of that 77, that's going to be all he needs to do. That 77 fighting a very tight race car at the moment. A lot of right front damage as a result. And this 42 has been a little more slow and steady, not really making as much contact with the wall, and that might just play into his favor. This, of course, is going to be a battle for the 3rd and final podium position as they run. Up front, we might have a situation on our hands. Brendan Brody has closed the gap to 1 second. Race leader Matt Semple trying to run, but Brendan Brody 1 second behind, has been closing that gap by a tenth, half a tenth, 5 tenths, and 2 tenths. It looks like on that lap 156, there was a big slip up from Matt Semple. Cost him 5 tenths, and that brings Brendan Brody to within an arm's reach now. One thing we've seen earlier is that once drivers get to that 7 or 8 tenths back, they really struggled to push through that dirty air to our race leader, Matt Semple. That's been a storyline time and time again as the 98 gets into the wall there.
And take a look at the last lap times on the timing tower. Matt Semple with a 30.44, Brendan Brody with a 30.36. So just about 8 hundredths of a second slower, as it sounds like Brendan had an issue through 3 and 4 there. Got 25 laps remaining. As it looks like Chris Puglisi has an issue. That time, Matt Semple gained a little bit over half a second. 25 laps remaining, 16 minutes remaining in the session.
It's coming down to the wire.
This is going to be close, yeah.
It absolutely is. Christopher Puglisi has had a serious issue to have to go back to pit road. We'll see if we can catch what happened here for Christopher Puglisi. We see him off the racing surface here. This may just be another pull off the track and back to pits. Didn't look like there was any damage for the 42. Gonna forfeit a top 5 finishing position this evening, potentially top 3. That's gonna give Roy Hill some breathing space in 3rd place as we run. Right now we're watching the top 2, Matt Semple, Brendan Brody. That time by Matt Semple, 4 100ths of a second quicker. And it looks like the pressure might be getting to the 98, trying to close that gap, getting into the wall a little bit more. Seeing a couple more mistakes, and that lead has ballooned back up to 1.8 seconds for Matt Semple in the 8. Driving very consistently, very steadily for the most part, and making that 98 have to work for it. And work for it is he. Trying to get there. We're at 13 minutes remaining, or 22 laps, whichever happens first for tonight's evening's race, I should say. Brendan Brody back up to about 2 seconds behind race leader Matt Semple. Looks like we were going to have a battle, and that battle has quickly dissipated as Matt Semple said, no thank you, I would like to stay in front. We're going to jump over here, though, as we've got a cluster of cars battling it out, and more specifically, it's going to be the 29 of Mike Schaefer and the 89 of Logan Spencer. These two are battling out for 4th place as they run. The 38 is a lapped car. Gary Miller 4 laps down. He's going to go drive on off with those fresh tires, and this is the battle now for P4. This is the closest battle on track as we run. Mike Schaefer in the 29, Logan Spencer in the 89. Both drivers have had flashes of a very good run this evening. Both drivers have found their fair share of issues. Looks like Logan Spencer's got a huge run of momentum coming down the backstretch. Not going to peek the nose in quite yet through turns 3 and 4, but Logan Spencer dives it in deep before getting off throttle. Almost gets up into the wall, and we got a bobble from the 29. That might open the door just enough. Maybe not this time. You can see the race leader, Matt Semple, just behind in that black and yellow Chevy Camaro coming up to lap these two. Now, they have no obligation to pull over for race leader Matt Semple. They are free to battle it out as much as they see fit. Something to keep in mind, however, is that Logan Spencer, being a buddy of Matt Semple, may just cut him some slack. And we even hear race leader Matt Semple saving fuel through turns 3 and 4. Might I add, race leader Matt Semple shutting the engine off on corner entry. And that is a twist that I did not foresee as we come to the conclusion of this race. Whether it be laps or time, fuel is now in question. You can hear just how quiet that car is through turns 3 and 4. He's still closing up to the back of Mike Schaefer and Logan Spencer, which tells me that Matt Semple is saving fuel, but he's not desperate to save fuel. Gets off on entry, on the clutch rather, on entry. Still riding the throttle, corner off, just not downshifting. We'll listen to turn 3. Oh yeah, halfway down the backstretch. Gets on the clutch and cuts that engine out just a little bit. Halfway down the backstretch is a pretty decent amount of saving. And Logan Spencer down to the inside again. More trouble for the 89 after clearing the 29. Loses the car and falls down to the inside. This is going to put only 3 cars remaining on the lead lap as Matt Semple gets around both of them. The 89 is going to have to tow back to pit road. Some serious damage on that Chevy Camaro. Body panels falling off. Here we see Logan Spencer to the outside. Mike Schaefer, the 29, just hits the wall, and that just sends the 89 down. And that is a wheel that is unable to continue. No choice but to tow back to the pit lane for Logan Spencer in the 89. Unfortunate end to his evening. And the chaos just keeps coming. We've got 3 cars on the lead lap in this race of attrition. We've got Mike Schaefer 1 lap down in 4th. Paxton Frith 2 laps down in 5th. Logan Spencer remains to be seen, currently on pit road. Jaden Wicks, Mike Miller, Brad Holmes, Christopher Pugliese, the rest of the top 10. I believe we've got 8 cars on track at the moment, cars who aren't at least parked up in the pit lane as we run. Very, very few cars remaining. 8 minutes left, 14 laps. Whichever comes first for race leader Matt Semple. Holding about 3 seconds to second place Brendan Brody, who has not been closing the gap despite the fuel savings, which tells me that Brendan Brody might just be in the same boat, saving some fuel. As we see a near issue for Jaden Wicks in the 9. Big slide off of the corner right there. Going to be approaching race leader Matt Semple. And this will be to get 1 lap back and put him only 3 laps down. Jaden Wicks can get around race leader here, and Matt Semple's just going to pull down to the inside, cut that engine out, and let the 9 go. Brendan Brody is closing in fast, though. Matt Semple has gone into a very, very hard saving fuel mode as the 98 continues to close in. That gap is down again to 1.7 seconds. We're going to take a look at the differences in lap time right here. And that time by, Brendan Brody was about a second faster than race leader Matt Semple, who was saving fuel and letting a lap car by. Leads back up to about 2 seconds now. Matt Semple saving a little bit less, starting to put a little bit more on there, trying to manage this 2 seconds-ish gap to second place, save fuel where he can, and keep that gap where he can. Matt Semple riding right in the wake of the 9 car of Jaden Wicks, going to be using that draft to aid in his fuel-saving endeavors down both of the front straights here, at least as long as he's right behind him. We see the 98 back into the wall just a little bit more. The 98's got no pressure behind because the 77 has come down on pit road. That's Roy Hill III. And the 29 of Mike Schaefer in 4th place. A lap behind, but nonetheless, we've got 2 drivers on the top 5 on pit road for fuel, potentially tires as well, as there are 10 laps remaining or 8 minutes, whichever comes first. It may just come down to laps at this rate. If we can keep it green, we might just get there. Watch the 24 Mike Miller exit pit road. Get back onto the track. Matt Semple still cutting that engine off. Still trying to stay out as long as he can. And this is a real interesting situation for our 2 race leaders, Matt Semple and Brendan Brody, respectively. What is their fuel situation looking like? Would Brendan Brody consider trying to undercut Matt Semple and just go crazy with it? As we see the 98 hard into the wall, riding the wall all the way around turn 1 for a good bit there. Actually made up some time just flooring it against the wall right there. Not too sure how that wall contact was initiated, but we can see the ups and downs here. 3/10 faster, 9/10 faster, 3/10 slower, 1/10 faster, just slower for Brendan Brody in comparison to Matt Semple. That time by advantage Brendan Brody by almost 5/10. Back into the wall again on entry of turn 1. Is that the car losing its handle, or is the 98 trying to pull a cheeky strategy to get up to the race lead? The race leader is right there. Matt Semple just ahead, under a second now. 9/10, 1 second, 8 laps to go. Make it 7 at the line. 5 minutes left in this session as the 78, fresh off of pit road, continues to circulate past these guys, get the laps back, and see what the 77 can do of Roy Hill. Our race leaders are on the back stretch now. Jump on board with Matt Semple. Cuts the engine out. at just before halfway down the backstretch, saving some fuel as the 98's coming down. Brendan Brody, second place onto pit road, cannot go any further as we have under 5 minutes remaining. 6 laps to go at the line for race leader Matt Semple. Coasting into turns 1 and 2, going to let the 77 fly on by. And Matt Semple, can he stay out? Does he have to come down onto pit road? Now that Brendan Brody has come down onto pit road, this could be make or break. Matt Semple has committed. He is coming into the pit lane. At the line, down pit road, it will be 5 laps remaining. And there should be about 4 minutes left in this session. That should change any moment now as the time is nearing a conclusion. Brendan Brody has made his pit stop. We're watching the on-screen track map. Brendan Brody exiting the pit stop in the 98 bubble, making his way around the track. He's just got to get to where that 8 bubble is of Matt Semple. How did each of these drivers play their pit stop? Did anyone take tires? Are they just taking a splash? The 8 car of Matt Semple coming to a stop in his pit stall. Is it a splash and go? Is it more than that? Matt Semple is in for a pit time that is slightly quicker than the 98. Pit lane time quicker as well for the 8 of Matt Semple, but will the undercut advantage work out for the 98 off of turn 2? They're going to be real close. Matt Semple getting up to speed, and the 98 of Brendan Brody is there, side by side, into turns 3 and 4. Matt Semple, fresh out of the pit stop, going to muscle his way in front to hold on to the race lead. Off of turn 4 we go at the line. It's going to be 4 laps remaining, but there's only 3 minutes left on the clock. One of the two is going to end this race, but Matt Semple holds on through an intense pit sequence in which Brendan Brody nearly had enough to take the lead away, but no, neither driver took any tires on that pit stop. Both are on the same set. They have been running for this entire final run, and it looks as though Brendan Brody has thrown in the towel, metaphorically, as that gap is ballooning now for Matt Semple, who has either 3 minutes or 3 laps to make it around. Both drivers only taking a splash of fuel, presumably enough to get to the end, but maybe a little bit of saving needed. Into the wall goes Matt Semple for a brush. Nothing too serious. We're down to 2 minutes left. This session could end at any time as we are in the final 2 minutes, whether we get all the laps in or not. At the conclusion of this event, the order will be as it was on track. Matt Semple in the lead, 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks in the air. Off of turn 2, plenty of gap to work with. We see Jaden Wicks hard into the wall behind. Of course, Jaden Wicks running a lap down. The 77 of Roy Hill came down before either of our 2 race leaders, but still running just under 20 seconds behind in P3. Albeit comfortably so. Off of turn 4 we go. It's going to be white flag in the air for Matt Semple. And whether we get to the end of this lap or not, this race is official. As far as we do get for the 8 of Matt Semple, who ran a flawless race tonight. Maybe not flawless. It's Darlington. I don't think anyone does it flawless. But Matt Semple gets the pole, wins stage 1, wins stage 2, and through 3 and 4 for the final time. I think we're going to complete the lap count. White flag out, checkered flag out. Matt Semple wins in the playoff opener at Darlington. We did indeed make it. Brendan Brody in second place, and Roy Hill will have enough to bring it home in third. With a race well done for all of our drivers, Matt Semple starts the playoffs on the right note with a win in round 1, following up his win in Richmond. That is 2 in a row for Matt Semple, even if it's not 2 in a row by FDRL races. All right. Let's see if we can't pull up our top 3 finishers for tonight's very chaotic race. It was quite something this evening, and it looks to me like we've got our drivers in here. There we go. All right, let's see if we can't If we can't get a word with third place here. Of course, being Roy Hill in the 77. I've got a third place finisher. Roy Hill in the 77 in that nice Mark Martin Valvoline scheme. Well, Roy, run me through your race tonight. It was a very chaotic race in which we almost finished due to the time being cut very close, but that was that was about as crazy a Darlington race as I've seen. Just walk me through your night.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy, that's for sure. I narrowly missed a couple wrecks there, but managed to get through. Had that one incident coming into 3. I still don't really know what happened there, if I overdrove or had help, but was able to get back, get the fast repair, and come back out, and had enough speed to stay ahead of most, but just did not have enough for the top 2. Ran them down with about, I don't know, 20 to go, and hit the wall, and it killed the right front. It just did not drive good from there, so limped it back home, happy with a third.
Well, that's absolutely how it goes sometimes. Still came out with the top 3 and a good points night to start out the playoffs in a very chaotic race of attrition. Well, I'm going to open up the floor to you. Of course, anyone you want to thank or shout out for a job well done and a hard-earned third place tonight, Roy.
Yeah, big thanks to y'all for broadcasting the race. It's always nice to be able to go back and watch them. It's a lot of fun, and just overall happy with the night.
Alrighty, well, there's our third place finisher, Roy the Third in the 77 Ford Mustang this evening at Darlington. See if we can't catch up with our second place finisher. We've got the 98. We've got Brendan Brody in the booth. Brendan, walk me through your race. Was kind of a tale of two halves. In the first half, it seemed like if there was trouble, it was finding you. And by the time the second half came around, you found that track position and you kind of stayed up there for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, I'm in shock right now. That, like you said, that first half was a lot of struggles. I lost connection at one point. I went 2 laps down, somehow found my way back on the lead lap, then wrecked 3-4 different times. And that last run, I still had wheel damage. I had about a minute and a half of damage still, so I don't even know how I kept it in P2, but just trying to save tires as much as possible. And Matthew was able to save a little bit more and keep pulling away from me there. But all in all, a great race for me.
Yeah, it seemed like you two were kind of playing a little game of cat and mouse with, you would get a run and you'd have some good laps and then Matt would try to step it up just a little bit. How much, before that final pit stop, how much were you focusing on saving fuel while trying to manage that gap to the 8?
So I started saving fuel, and each lap I was about half a second slower than Matthew. And I knew that wasn't going to work out because I feel like that was too much time lost. So at the end, I didn't really save much fuel. I just tried to keep a close distance to Matthew. That way I could maybe leapfrog him in the pits. And it almost worked out for me, but I just did not have enough tire left.
That it did. It was real close and real fun to call. Well, Brendan, I am going to open up the floor to you after a great run to finish P2 in the playoff opener. Who do you got to thank? Who do you got to shout out for this race tonight?
I got to thank my sponsor, Brody Farms on YouTube. Go check them out. And Ford, of course, for providing me with this great car.
All right. Well, there we go. Congratulations again, Brendan, on your second place run. That is the driver of the 98. And with that, we will pull up our race winner, driver of the number 8. It's Matt Semple, newest father in town, goes out and gets it done. Picking up where you left off after Richmond. Walk us through your night tonight, Matt. You might have had the least chaotic race, even though you were still caught up in a couple incidents.
Yeah, it was crazy. The stage 1 went, fairly good. I had good confidence on it and trying to see everybody's lap times and everything. I felt like, it was going good. I had a good race car under me, a good setup. Saving my tires, it looked like, compared to a lot of other guys. So stage 1 was a breeze, and then stage 2, when I kind of got shuffled back there a little bit, I think I got into the 54 there, which I apologize to him right away there because I'm racing without glasses tonight, and this is the first time I've done that in forever, and everything's just a blur. So apologize to him on that. He was all good with it there since we were just racing hard, but yeah, overall it was a good race, just trying to manage your tires the best you could there. And then in that final run, when that last caution came out, it was kind of a weird strategy you had to play just because of how many laps are left and how much fuel you have. So I tried saving fuel right off the hop and had enough to go the whole way. But then when I saw Brennan pit from second there with about 5 laps to go. I was second guessing myself, so I decided to come down 2 just to make sure.
Yeah, that was real fun to watch play out towards the end with the fuel saving and what each of the leaders were going to do, especially with the time winding down as quickly as it was. Well, racing without glasses, everything was a blur. You were a blur as well. This is a great way to start out the playoffs with a win here in Darlington. How are you feeling about the next couple of weeks going through the first round and on deeper into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's definitely good getting the Darlington win out of the way there and locking myself in the next round as long as I make the next 2 races, start them at least. So feels good about that. You know, you don't really have to focus too much on the other 2 tracks. Obviously, still trying to get good finishes and a win if you can, but you don't really have to push the issue. So we're just kind of focused on the round of 12 now and see if we can do the same thing again. Just go out there and win the first race, and then that way we just keep looking forward.
That's a good way to do it. And I tell you what, I've said it before on the broadcast, but I was thinking whoever won this first race at Darlington in the playoffs here was going to be the champion at the end of Phoenix. So you've got some big shoes to fill now, Mr. Simple. After I called that one, don't make me look bad.
Oh, I'll try not to.
All right, well, I'm going to open up the floor to you. Any shout-outs and thank yous you want to throw out there after a dominant win tonight?
Yeah, thanks to you two for doing the broadcast. It's always very, very good. I love going back and watching it, and you guys just do an awesome job. So thank you very much for doing that. Thanks for Jaden for putting on this league. It's a lot of fun with a lot of good guys in it, and everybody gets along. So it makes it more enjoyable racing, and so it's good that the league's here. The race sponsor, I can't remember if it was me or somebody else, but if it was somebody else, thanks for picking it up. And then obviously I'd like to thank my wife for letting me do this, and send my love to her and baby back at the hospital here. I'm about to pack my bags and head back down and go greet them and hang out with them some more.
All right, sounds like some fun celebrating with the family. Congrats again, Matt, on a job well done winning the playoff opener this evening in Darlington. And with that is a race down in the playoffs. We are already 1 down, 9 to go to end out the season for the Frigidee Racing League in 2025.
The race that showed us a little bit of everything out here tonight, Arie. We saw some tire strategy, we saw some fuel strategy, and it came down to a nail-biting pit stop at the end between Brendan Brody and Matt Semple. Matt Semple taking away the checkered flag out here tonight from Darlington to kick off the playoffs.
Absolutely, and with that, the dust has settled, the sun has set, that timer has stopped ticking, and we can finally take a look at how the field wound up at the end of everything. Just where did your favorite driver fall by the time the checkered flag flew?
So the timer running out, I do believe, has hurt our timing and scoring program that we use. But Matt Semple comes away with the win out here tonight. Brendan Brody finishes second. Roy Hill the third rounds out the podium that we just spoke to. Mike Schaefer and Paxton Frith was your top 5. On the outside of the top 5, Gary Miller in that 38 Ford Mustang comes home in 6th place, followed by Brad Holmes in that 00 Chevy Camaro. For Brad, couple of issues for Brad as we went out here tonight. Jaden Wicks, Logan Spencer, and Mike Miller round out the top 10. And on the outside of the top 10 looking in was Chris Pugliese, Justin Osterman, Nathan Peacock, and Daniel Scruggs made up your field of 14 drivers out here tonight from Darlington Raceway.
All right, thank you for the rundown there, Tom. I did not receive the information on that rundown, so I'll trust you with that one. And with that, we turn our attention. Where are we next week, Tom?
So they're going out to St. Louis. They're going to be in Gateway next week, followed by Bristol for their round of 16.
Oh boy, Gateway is a real interesting track, a very unique challenge to these drivers. And who doesn't love Bristol under the lights? I got that one circled, Tom. I might not be racing it, but Bristol under the lights is always a good time. So I got that one. I'll really be looking forward to that one. Either way, we'll be here, you and I, Tom, for the conclusion of the Friggy Diggy Racing League, all 9 remaining races here in the playoffs. That is the plan every Wednesday evening, same time, same place, and, well, the same faces out on track.
I'm looking forward to it. Next time you'll see us on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network, we'll be covering the trucks from... Where are we going? We're going to Nashville. Nashville next Tuesday here on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network, where you're going to be driving, and then we'll be back here once again on Wednesday night for the Friggy Diggy Racing League for race number 2 of the first round of the playoffs at Gateway.
That's right. All right. Once again, congratulations to our top 3, and congratulations to our race winner for the round 1 race of the playoffs here at Darlington. It's Matthew Semple, driver number 8, starting off the right way. We will see every one of you guys next Wednesday right here at it again.